I'm Danica Tormohlem with TSNN and part of Informa Connect, and we're going to talk a little bit about mergers and acquisitions. Will you tell us a little bit about your background and just to give us some context so that people who don't know you get to know you a little bit?
Sure. The morning you. So I started out in the days being online publishing businesses. Okay. This is information companies, data companies like Dow Jones and Thompson Financial. But I immediately started doing business at trade shows, Comdex, and Eason was there when Windows was launched.
Oh, wow.
So everyone remembers a lot of them when they were Comdex. And then I've been in M&A business for the last 15 years with a heavy focus on all types of events, especially exhibitions and wars, but all types of events as well, including conferences, Comdex, host to buyer, all types of models. And our business is M&A advisory fund, representing settlers and bringing them to our area.
Yesterday, John was on a panel with Russell Wilcox, Craig, and friends. Right, yes. And talking about the state of M&A. And so I thought I would maybe do a little bit of a deeper dive with you, especially because you just did a white paper analyzing what's going on there. So tell us a little bit about what is trending there.
It's really astonishing. I bought this firm in 18 and curtains, but in 90% of my efforts been to give them businesses. And then the pandemic came, right?
Yeah.
And I wondered if they're even with the events industry. I think a lot of them. And it is now such a healthy time in M&A and in the events industry. Most of the businesses that we look at are growing still after COVID, bouncing back.
Still coming back.
They're 18. They bounced back to their 19 levels mostly in 22, and now have continued to grow mostly. And we've seen a high amount of private equity interest in the elements industry. In our research, we identified 40 PE firms globally that have invested in businesses that have substantive face-to-face revenues. Maybe not 100% face-to-face, but substantive. And almost half of those 19 are citizen-owned. So
new to market.
So incredible confidence in the face-to-face model, and to see after what we've been through, investors have been comfortable coming in and setting up platforms, portfolio companies that continuing to do a lot of bolt-on transactions.
It's interesting that there's that many new private equity. It is back in the very before private equity really wasn't been on. Trade shows weren't on the radar of private equity. Wow. Yeah.
The reasons, many of us know the reasons why, the scalability of the businesses, the margin that we can have, and then the cash flow characteristics. If you have a good refill, many industries can't get the cash for their product a year in plans of having listened and spent this, right?
Yeah.
Then companies have to put down deposits, right? But so those are the 3D characteristics that are part of any investment thesis on the looking at it. And relatively simple businesses. You don't need software engineers and manufacturing plants. Maybe someone who wants a huge heavy equipment show would not think that it's quite so simple to pull it off. But from an investor perspective, fairly simple.
So one of the things that you said yesterday is it feels like a seller's market, right? And then has been for a little while.
It does feel that way. You can get a lot of interest, right? And so we certainly don't see businesses selling like at below market prices. Though I couldn't really say for sure there have been enough transactions to say that the sellers market has turned into consistently increased valuation. We can't go that far, but it is a very good time in the warning. I think that investors are happy with what's been happening, and it's a good time for sellers to come to market.
One of the things I thought was interesting also yesterday was Craig Kitchen said there was much to buy, that there were things, there weren't enough events to buy, quality event in his particular sector where he wants to invest. Whereas Russell said that he disagreed, that he thought that there were quality assets, particularly in the U.S. Market to buy. What are your thoughts about that?
Both perspectives are correct. It depends on what you're looking for, size-wise. Are you open to diverse revenue streams? Where do you want 100% face-to-face? Are you open to all types of events? And which industries want to invest in? Most people tend to buy something adjacent to what they got that's either doing well or maybe needs a bit of shoring up. So that could be very different experiences. Those could be very different experiences with two different buyers.
Yeah. I was laughing too when you said people, I know a question often is multiples, right? Everybody wants to know what the multiples are. And you can a range of 2 to 20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to quote just standard multiples because
There is no standard, is there?
maybe you could look at the public deals, but
Right.
every situation is different. Buyers look at profitability different than the sellers do.
Okay.
Some of them are always careful and kind of sellers to not just if they walk turban even worse, let's say,
Yeah.
without a real good look at business.
When you say they look at it differently, what
Most common is if you have owners involved in this, and so they're found, they're mixing profit with owner income.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very clean line between the two.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the white paper. We will include a link to it in our show notes here at the end, and we'll pop up some of the graphics. What are some of the things that stand out to you that you think the trade show audience would be good for them to pick up?
What's the most interesting is the U.S.-UK cross-border activity, right?
Okay.
So that's where we saw the most cross-border activity. Was about 25 to 30% of the 150 bolt-ons or so that were done during the period that we looked back to 2017.
Okay.
I believe 25-30% for cross-border, and that's fairly significant. Certainly, if the PD companies, if the portfolio companies, PD backer was from across the pond, also with that, more likely to equal transactions. It's very healthy. The UK is interested in the US market, very much so. Europe's interested in the US market, and there's interest going in the other direction as well.
When you look at private equity beyond the US and UK, is there investment in other?
Not as much, a bit in France, Brussels, but it is mostly US and UK in terms of that type of ownership structure. And there's a couple of different reasons why in Europe you have the more common mixed ownership structure with a government entity or like a chamber of commerce type, we would call them involved. So that affects how much private investment could come from private equity.
Because they wouldn't want to invest in something where they'd be venturing with a government entity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Definitely.
Essentially. And also, I'm assuming the US and UK are mature, more certain markets than maybe some as well.
Well, the clients are global, right? So that's the thing, especially if you have a show that has a corporate client. So you're bringing another audience to somebody you already know. That's a common part of any investment process.
When you look ahead to 2025, we're here at NC Global Congress. It's November of 24. You think there's going to be any more deals before the end of the year? But there'll be one or two.
Yeah. Yes. We had 2 closings in the last 2 weeks or so. Just us, there'll be another, at least one before the end of the year. And the pipeline looks healthy. This is the time of year that we have companies looking at their plans for next year and thinking, should we come to market? The fall is usually the time when, and we've seen
fall is usually the time.
Yeah, a bit more than earlier in the year. As they're thinking of the next year when you get into Q1 on the more making their year and then making a decision. The pipeline looks good, so I expect it to be a healthy year.
Great. Any insight you want to share about the recent deals that you just completed?
Yes, both in good markets. Energy, technology, and healthcare are always the hottest markets. They're the most invested in the public and capital markets, so they're the most invested in our markets as well. So one was a regional trade show in the solar industry that really nicely diversified communications, regional strategy in the U.S. And then the other was a hosted buyer. Distance and various industries, the clarion bodies if you move all comps. And the host buyer of model is definitely well formed by the investment community in the cause of the meetings being the core of the value propositions. So
you see some activity in the pipeline. Any advice for sellers?
Yes. most important thing is the clean financials. Most importantly, for mid-sized companies, when they get to a certain stage, not so difficult. And smaller business, you're running a business. Running your business can be a different exercise in terms of monitoring your financial position than selling business and going to point.
And on the flip side, what about for buyers?
Number one is just understand your markets, understand your customers, and what else they make, because those are the keys to unwanteds that you can fire.
So much, John. I really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Danica.
For TSNN, I'm Danica Tormohlem.